Hey, this is Max. Welcome back to another CSR2 video. So we need to talk about a way to get good live racers because that's one of the first questions newer players ask. Whether it's in Danny Lightning stream or with me in chat, it's always about, hey, I'm a newer player. I need a good live racer. Where can I get it? And what car should I get? All right. There are a few difficult things about getting specific cars in this game. One is that some cars don't come around except once. Some cars come around, but then you have to spend a lot of resources to get them, whether it's gold, keys, or whatever. And key pulls are usually random. So all these things hurt you. What I've always advised is one, milestone, which guarantees you a car if you join milestone crew. You have the PC car, and then you have the milestone car itself. But you're at the mercy of the seasons. Whatever Natural Motion decides for that season to be the PC car or to be the milestone car is what you're going to be stuck with. Well, recently, and not too recently, but in the recent years, Natural Motion introduced something new called collections. And today I want to specifically talk about getting cars from collections. Sure, it doesn't start off easy. Nothing is easy in the game, but collections in the end might in some ways be better than relying on milestones or elite tuners. Elite tuner cars are great, except you need to elite and fully elite most of them for them to be any good, and they can be very difficult to get to level 35 elite levels because tokens don't come easily and you may not be ready. Collections has the advantage of these cars are available as long as you have one car in the collection first. It opens up the whole collection. The alternative is if you don't have any of the cars, then there are level requirements which are actually very hard to get. So in order to have access to good collections, you do need to have some cars already. But some of these collections really are not that difficult to get a car in, and once you have that one car, you're now getting access to potentially other pretty good cars. Okay, so for example, the Mustang Boss 302 is almost guaranteed to be given to you for free, and therefore you'll have access to these cars now in collections. Once you have access, when you click on them, if you don't already own them, you will have a ticket requirement to get them. And this one here is one of the cheaper ones for I think 800 tickets. So you want to get good live racers with collection tokens. That's one of the ways to get a hold of specific cars through collections. Now, to get the collection tokens, these actual tokens, you usually have to focus either on collection cups, okay, which comes all the time, but you may not have the car. But again, it's something to look out for and check, and you run what you can. And they do add up. They add up pretty quick over time. The other source, and that's this guy right here, okay, the sprint races. Sure, you may not have every one of these cars, and certainly you may not have these cars built, but if you do have a few of them, that particular cup, you run it. And if you have the veteran upgraded task completed, you can get some pretty good numbers out of the collection cups itself. So this is one of the ones you run. I guess 7 hours to finish this to get some more collection tokens. I'll do that later. Another source and a better source obviously is tournaments. Now, collection tournaments always use collection cars, and you may not have any of those cars, or you may only have one. But if you at least run it and your crew also run it, then what happens is you open up all these little side trophy-based rewards, and they can be quite good. You can get quite a bit of collection tokens out of this. Once you get started and you're able to get collections going, you will get more and more collection tokens as you get more and more collection cars. So it behooves you to get collections cars, but focusing, at least in my opinion, on good live racers at the same time, you get to kill two birds with one stone. All right, so that's basically the preliminary discussion of collections and why I think it's important. But let's now talk about the actual cars that are good live racers. Let's look through each one. Right from the Street Rapids, you already have options. The RS7 Sportback and the RS6 Avant are both good live racers. They're natural dyno beaters. They're easy to tune. Audi Fusions are not super difficult to get. You could buy the TTRS and the RS5 Coupe in the dealership and sell and strip them. Not sell them. Don't sell them. Strip them and you get Fusions, and not necessarily stage 6s, but these are gold star cars, so stage 6s can come from bronze keys and parts crate. So Street Rapids, two good live racers right there. Precision Selection has a good live racer, and that is the Nissan GTR Nismo GT3. There's a secondary car that's actually very important here, and that is the Nismo Attack Package, which if you are looking for a car to beat Tempest 3 Tier 4 and Tempest 2 and Tempest 1 Tier 4, Nissans, you can get Fusions relatively easily, and it's a good, this is a very good car for beating all of Tempest. However, as a live racer, it's more mediocre. Not to say it's terribly bad, but not super good. This, on the other hand, is quite good, not super, not your top tier live racer, but you're talking about a very solid live racer right here. However, if I were to spend tokens as a newer player, I would go for the Z Nismo RZ34, which is actually a better live racer than anything on this here. Even though it's a tier 4, it is dominating when tuned properly and can beat dyno and lobbies well, and generally is a solid car in the high 11 to mid 12 to 13 second range. So the Japan spec is another possible live racer, but not a priority. So if I were to pick as priorities here, I would go with these two first before I worry about any other card. Of course, to get into this particular precision selection group, you already have to have one of these cars available, and unfortunately, none of these are super easy to get a hold of. So this may be one that you won't free up until you're getting a few levels here. But unlike some of the higher, more rare or very rare groups, this one isn't that hard to get into even in the beginning. 90 Summit, unfortunately, doesn't have anything good. You get the McLaren F1 through Legends, so you're not getting it here. And then the Strasa version it's an okay live racer, but not worth the effort because Porsche Fusions are so hard to get anyway. And CLK GTR, although it's used in quite a few events, isn't a good live racer. So, moving right along, Dragstars, nothing good here. However, both Cobra Jet and Copo Camaro can be tuned to beat dyno by a lot, and arguably are good live racers, but truthfully speaking, don't go for them until you're ready with a lot of tokens. Now, moving along to Aston Martin Icons, which is more rare, but if you happen to have one of these cars already, again, the DB5 you're going to get pretty easily, so that opens this up to you without having to worry about the levels here. Once you get that legend car, you'll have access to buying the others. And out of this group, the best live racer is the Valor. However, the 177 is a dyno buster that can help you with map stuff and some event stuff. The Valor is the live racer. The Valhalla Concept is a well-rounded car that used to be an excellent live racer, but it's now outshined by many other cars. So it's not as strong as it was. All these also are somewhat stage 6 dependent, meaning they need stage 6 trans or stage 6 tire or body to really shine. So again, out of all this, Valor is the one to think about. Track Day Toys, my favorite group, having one of my favorite live racers. All these suck. My favorite group of sucky cars, except for Bachmano. Bachmano isn't for everyone either. And it's not a high evo car, but it is a tunable car that can beat dyno and lobby pretty well in the really slow lobbies, like 13 to 12. All the way to about 11s, it's pretty competitive. But don't expect it to be easy to maintain the lobby. You really have to have great control with this car. However, it is a good live racer. That being said, not for new players. Bach Fusions are rare. They're hard to get. It is a gold star, so you can use bronze keys. But in the end, Z34 first, the Mustang first, and the Bach is kind of later if you want an option. All right, moving right along here, shaped in Charade. This is all McLarens, and they all suck. Okay, I hate to tell you. Although, arguably, the 600 LT may be a decent live racer. Again, nothing here I would really focus on as far as prioritizing getting a car from. The Ghosts, on the other hand, has quite a few good live racers. You have the Regera CSR edition, you have the Jesco, the Gamera Launch, and the CCA 50. Out of these four, the first one I would get is the CCA 50. Then I would pull the Gamera, then the CSR, then the Jesco. Now, the Jesco is the hardest to make work in live right now because it's not as good as it used to be. The Regera is only good with certain glitched type setups. So really, these are the two better ones. And out of these two, the Gamera, when tuned right in the right lobby, is a monster, but not easy to set up or tune. CCA 50 is the easiest to tune and use, and therefore is the top choice in that group. Moving right along, supercharged sophistication, more Aston Martins. You already know the best one is the Valor. The rest of these, not so important. I would skip all of the cars in here because they're not priorities. Millionaires Club have some nice cars, including yet again the CCA 50. So if you acquired the CCA 50 from the other one, then you can now get into the Millionaires Club to play with this. Now, one important car in the Millionaires Club is the Gold Star Valor. The other one was Purple Star. A Gold Star isn't as fast ultimately with the fusions as a Purple Star, but you can get stage 6s using this one and keys, and then ultimately build the Purple Star to a fully max. But then now you're building two Valors. Is it really that good that you need two of them? It's your call. Okay, but if I were to get one first, I would get a Gold Star Valor just so I can get stage 6s, because if you get the Purple Star one, you cannot use parts crates. Well, you can, but you got to pay real money. Shadow Fleet, nothing good here. Skip them for now until you get so much tokens that you just get it because you can. Okay, moving down to Bavarian Thunder. Some nice looking cars. This one's good for T3s in Tempest, so that's a good option to get for that purpose. And the rest of these are mediocre. This is terrible. Don't get that. This is not good either. So these two, the M4 Competition can be a decent live racer, but it's a tier 3 and therefore not that great. So out of all these, I would say M5 Sedan is a possible live racer because it does beat Dyno, but again, not a great choice. This is probably the one you would get for Tempest purposes, but not live racing. Okay. Turbo Titans. Now, Turbo Titans are a bunch of SUVs, and generally speaking, SUVs suck in this game. Okay, just so you know. However, all that being aside, DBX 707 is a great live racer. Doesn't really beat Dyno, but lobbies so well in the slower lobbies and with partial upgrade builds. This is actually a good choice for live racing. The rest of these, unfortunately, are not. So I would skip them unless you need them for something else. Moving right along, Masterpieces in Motion. Now, there are some really good cars in here as far as Zondas are concerned, but most of them are lousy live racers except for the Utopia. The Utopia is a great live racer. However, the rest of these, they end up in all kinds of events. So, eventually you're probably going to want them, but none of these are. The Senkei is a usable live racer, but compared to the Utopia, it's not all that. And therefore, the rest, skip them unless you need them. Okay, so we got through that. Let's look at Born in Britain. Born in Britain has the Mono. Okay, again, there's another car in here, though, that is quite good live racer, and that's the Griffith. The Griffith also, with enough upgrades, can beat all Tempest 3 Tier 4 challenges. So that's a good car to consider if you like British cars and you want another Gold Star Tier 4. Ringleaders. I don't know why they're ringleaders. They all suck, but that's the bottom line with this. This group, unfortunately, isn't good. However, XE SV Project 8, Yet another Tier 4 beat Donna and everybody else car. But Jaguar Fusions, and Stage 6s, I wouldn't really worry about this too much. However, if you need a Tier 3 option, Very Civic Type R, also good at Tempest, not necessarily so good at live racing, and also not that good at sprinting. So it's not like the perfect Tier 3 car. For the best ones in Tier 3, it still goes back to BMWs. Viper ACR Extreme Aero, it's a dyno beater, but currently not that great. Still not, it used to be just a huge dyno beater. Now it still is, but with higher Evo, but it still doesn't lobby well, so not the greatest car to get. But if you would like the car, you can always get it as an option. Japanese tuners. Unfortunate truth of Japanese tuners, they're not very good in this game. Um, would I get any of these? I mean, really, this one you have to get some other way anyway. Voltex has some potential. There are people that like using it in live, not for me personally. And the rest of these are not good in live at all. However, RX-7 Rocket Bunny's been used in like Easter events and some other related type events. It also fully maxed, and with a little bit of struggle on one of the uh, Tempest 3 Tier 4 challenges, it can beat all challenges as well. But again, with the elite levels, it'll be easier. This car is just, it's also a dyno beater, so it can be used in live. Fully maxed, actually, it's pretty solid in live. But again, not as good as, say, the Jack Roush or the Z34 Nismo, or even the DBX 707 in the other lobbies. Okay, now, so we did the tuners, crew battle relics. Yeah, no. These are all terrible cars. Everything from the events, the boss battles, all the way to all the Tempests, almost everything sucks. Boss cars. The only few that I kind of give exceptions to would be something like Angel Civic, which actually is okay in Tier 1. The I guess the Tier 2, there's the I forgot the name of the boss, but the Lotus Exige. That one I guess is good for bot hunting back in the day. It's probably not that great now. Tier 3, you have the BMW M4, LBM4, which actually is decent for map stuff, and also for Tempest. Later Tempest, you can use that BMW M4, which can be built to max pretty easily. But ultimately, boss cars are almost always bad. So they're not really a priority for me, and the challenges to make them veterans are just ridiculous. All right, the great CA. There used to be a really great CA, but now there's only one. There used to be more. I would say this one used to be a viable live racer, but now they killed it because they modified it somehow. So out of these, this is the only one, and this is quite good. The Corvette Z06, Z07 package is a very good live racer if you know how to tune it. Definitely an option if you want a car, but it's a purple star, hard to get stage 6s for, and it is stage 6 dependent to some degree to keep the Evo up and make the car really good. RS Chronicles. No, nothing. Sorry. Mission R Concept can be a good live racer in some people's hands. The launch is very twitchy and sensitive. I dislike the car a lot. Salzburg is kind of a mediocre live racer, and the rest of these are terrible. For live racing, not to say they're terrible all around, but for live racing, they're no good. Decade of Distance. If you can get anything from here, assuming you can get into here in the first place, I would say SC63 IMSA version, which unfortunately costs a lot. So I would hold off on that until later. R18 e-tron's a solid car, still viable in live. Not going to shine a huge amount in live, but it's usable. The Corvette C8R is the same way. It can be tuned to be dyno. It's usable, not super good. And 2016 GTLM, same thing, good numbers, okay lobbying, but not really that great when it comes to live. So out of that group, unfortunately, there are a few decent ones and usable ones, but none of them are that great. Okay, so Mustang Heritage actually is one of the first cars I recommend people to grab from collections, and that is the Jack Roush Mustang. Does everything. Does Tempest, does live racing, can run map stuff like supply cups and all that stuff because it beats dyno naturally. A great choice for live racing, but there's a caveat. It's a purple star, so you're not going to get stage 6s easily. And two, it is a control freak car. If you don't control your runs and you run this car all out all the time, you will start losing very quickly because it'll get bumped. So it's good and bad at the same time. I think it's a little bit more tricky for newer players to get the hang of this car. It's still my top recommended choice all around, but with caveats that it's a purple star, you're going to struggle a little bit with stage 6s. And again, control. It's going to be very important to drive this long term. It can beat Tempest 3 Tier 4 without any stage 6s, so there's that. Mustang Dark Horse, another good, solid live racer, Tier 4 car, easy to set up, easy to drive. A lot of people do well with this car, even more so than with the Jack Roush. Not because the Jack Roush is worse, but because the Dark Horse doesn't require as much careful control. Moving right along here, we got some to go, but let's get through all this while we're here. Let's do the whole thing. I don't want the video to take too long, but I can't just go through stuff without talking about it. Okay, they all suck. Bye. Next, so Legendary Trinity sounds great, but they all stink in the game. Fury of Santa Agata. Miura SV, obviously, great car. But again, if you got the Miura, you probably got a lot of the other cars already. Out of this group, I would say the Revolto's usable. The SVJ's somewhat usable. There are people that says this is actually a good live racer. I haven't really had a great experience with it. Diablo SV is my go-to in this group. I really like this car. I use it in live. Fully upgraded, it sucks. In the slower lobbies, 11s, 12s, 13s, you can tweak it to beat dyno and do whatever you want, and that car can be quite solid in live racing. Limited series stuff. Well, it might be limited series, but it's also limited in anything decent. None of these are worth your time. Invincible being the only one that might actually do something in live. And not going to beat everything. It'll be some cars. Experimental. Yeah. Experiment with skipping this because, quite honestly, for the amount of resources you have to put in to get them, most of these are not that great. FXXK, original milestone car, but this is the purple star version. Not a bad car, but today, in the current matchmaking, current game, not a good car. Out of all these, if I were to pick one live racer, I would probably call for the SF90XX Stradale, which actually tuned properly is decent, quite decent. Good, I should say, as a live racer. Not excellent, but quite good because it is got the numbers, it lobbies well. It just doesn't beat dyno too much, which is now once again an important thing to have if you want a strong live racer. I don't have any of these, so unfortunately I can't tell you much about it, but I do know Miura, Mustang, Superbird. People use them in live, but the Mustang and the Miura seems to be the better two for points. I don't know how great they are in actual live racing since I don't have them, but I see them in live. All right, Hot Hatches is probably the first group that you get cars from and can get into. Unfortunately, it's tier 2, and if you're live racing in tier 2s, you're not making much money, you're not making much RP, it just doesn't work long term. It's much more efficient to go to tier 4, so unfortunately I can't recommend anything from here. And that brings us to Reforged Fury, which has one of the best tier 5 live racers in the group. If you can get one of these, it'll be the Venom F5 Concept Gold Star. Excellent live racer, excellent all-around car. You're going to have one problem. It's so good that people won't race you when they see you in it. So keep that in mind. Although it is known to be one of the top live racers, everybody knows that, and nobody wants to race you. If I were a newer player, always focus on tier 4 first. Always focus on Gold Star prior to Purple Star, because again, you want to be able to fully max the car. and get that veteran challenge thing through so you can get more tokens. And it's better to go initially with the tier 4s over the tier 5s. They're cheaper to acquire, easier to build, less cash in game, and take less fusions. Everything says tier 4 is easier, and in live racing can be just as effective in 11s, 12s, 13s, even up to 10s for some cars as in a tier 5 car, and you're spending less resources to get more. So you can't beat that. All right. I think we've talked long enough about all these cars. I went through every single part of the collection that I have access to. If I missed anything, let me know. But once again, the Nismo is a good starter car that won't treat you poorly. So there's nothing wrong with grabbing this car and using it in live with some TNT style upgrades. You're talking about 629, 1708. You're going to dyno around, I would say 11.9. But you can run much faster than that, or 11.8 something, I think is what I have. It's kind of a skip gear car. You got to skip some gears, and then once you get into 8th, you should pull ahead of most cars. So you don't even need to get out of 8th. If you want to beat dyno, of course, you go into 9th. Just running it in 8th, you run like a 12. And again, solid place to be, 12.1, 12.0. Beating cars running 12.2, 12.3s. A great live racer. Easy to build, easy to set up, easy to use. Okay, knowing that you got to skip gears in the shift patterns. I'm going to show you the parts and the tune on this particular car real quick, since we're going to wrap up the video here. So again, you can see 3, 3, 6, 6, 6, 6. So you do need some stage 6s to get to this lobby, but you can also get away with 5, 5, 5, 5. 3, 3. It'll do pretty close to the same thing. The only thing you sacrifice there is you sacrifice a little bit of Evo here. And the higher the Evo, the better for lobby matchmaking. Tier 4s generally lobby better than Tier 5s anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. So that was on a 11.762 dyno, and I was in the 12 second something lobby, and I can run 12.6s easily with this car, with high 12.5s to low 12.6s very easily. So again, a very solid live racer, easy to use, and nothing wrong with picking this up if you're not sure about the Jack Roush Mustang. And that being said, this also beats all of Tempest 3 Tier 4 with enough upgrades and parts. All right, I hope you liked the video and all that information was helpful to you. If you have any specific questions, ask in the comments. You want to add something, add it in the comments. Let everybody know. Share the information. That's why we make these videos, so people don't have to go blind through this game, which is now almost 10 years old. You should have resources. You should be able to enjoy the game, knowing that you're doing the right things when you go and get specific cars. If you liked the video, leave a like. If you like my channel and like my rambling, subscribe, hit the bell, and you get notified when I put up more ramblings. And as always, thank you for watching my videos. I'll catch you next time.